Welcome, and thank you for joining for another whiskey review. Today, we're going to go back to Ireland, Dustin.
Yes.
Take a look at the Killowen 10-year-old Peated Malt Cask. This, I want to make sure I said that right. This is our second Killowen. We did a Texarkana cask or something like that, if I'm saying that correctly one time.
I'm sure we're butchering it, but
an incredibly good whiskey, a shocker.
Yeah,
that 10-year-old whiskey. So we got another one here.
That was my wow. That was probably one of my top 3 or 4 wow bottles from last year.
Oh.
I mean, just blew me away. Absolutely incredible.
If you guys don't know about this little Irish whiskey company, very small outfit, very small little place, little distillery. They put in very small little bottles.
Yeah, they're making whiskey out of a place no bigger than your garage, Mike. I'm telling you.
I tell you what, the first one we had, I was very impressed by. This one comes in at 52.5% ABV. These are little 375 mLs. This small batch had 360 total bottles. This is bottle 204. So again, when we say peated cask, this is not peated whiskey. Much like the Balvenie 17-year-old peated cask, it's unpeated malt put into a peated cask to age for some period of time. In this case, it was a finishing.
Yes.
So,
and it's peated whiskey. It's actually peated Irish whiskey.
Yes, yeah. Very good distinction is, it was peated Irish whiskey that was the peated cask used to do the final finishing on this particular Irish whiskey. That's a lot of words. I think I said them right.
I mean, they're words. You used them.
All right, Dustin. Let's get
one
to
at a time.
Let's get to this Killowen, and I don't know why they chose to go with that name, but Owen must have did something to them.
Yeah, poor Owen.
Seems like a good guy.
I know.
Fresh lemon.
Just beautiful, robust, earthy, sweet. Brings in that like Irish, a little bit of that pot still. You can definitely pick up. There's a different kind of vanilla note, Mike, when it's a grain whiskey. And there's obviously grain whiskey used in this blend. And it gives it a slight hint of metallic. It's a thinner, it's not as rich, not as creamy a vanilla, but it's a very distinct. This is definitely got like earth, some like peat bogs, but not just that, but I mean like almost has like a barn kind of note coming off.
Yeah, there is. I agree. A lot of people, when we say with things like metallic, think that that's off-putting. Really, it isn't in this at all. Just like it isn't in Craig Alecky. There's almost like a vanilla yogurt being whipped in a copper bowl or something.
Yeah, I mean, it's an element to Irish whiskey that is fundamental. I would almost argue, like you can't do Irish without this note. Otherwise, people would come back and go, "That's not really Irish tasting whiskey."
Yeah, but here comes in like the fruits and some nice pastry notes, almost like some type of a jam, strawberry. Maybe.
I was gonna say it's like a raspberry spread on like a breakfast cake. One of those things you have with coffee.
Sure. Yeah, we're talking about something that's toasted, that's bready with some fruit on it. For sure.
The toasted notes here are beautiful. I'm wondering if maybe they toasted that cask before they finished it, because it's got a really nice, clean, toasted everything here.
Yeah, but I'm not getting a ton of peat. I mean, there's a wisp of it in the background.
No, it's earthy, but on the nose, it's. I mean, really, I've gotten to try the rum finished one as well, which was also very good. And the rum one and this one really kind of tells me that I do like when wine casks are used by these guys, because it adds an extra layer of fruitiness that this underlying sweet base malt really complements. This is almost like using a bourbon barrel to some degree, in the sense that it's not adding like fruit to the sweetness. I really like the nose in general, though. I think whatever the blend they have is a beautiful blend.
Yeah, nothing off-putting on the nose whatsoever. It's fun to dig into it. There's a lot of nice things going on.
I'm even starting to get like some chocolate fudge. It's like a powdered I don't know, like if you had some fudge, you put a little bit of like a hot chocolate powder on it.
Yeah, it feels like a Thanksgiving rich dinner table. You know what I mean? A little bit of everything there.
It is beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, I would say here at the end, I'm picking up maybe slightly more of the peatier cask from it, but it almost comes in as a slightly just char note along with that peat. And maybe I think that's what I'm getting.
Well, so I will say this, Mike. As you can see, I've had a little bit of this, although in these bottles, it looks like I've had a lot more than I probably have since it's 375. The peat is subtle on this, and I'm picking it up on the finish right now, but we have been drinking peated whiskey today, guys, so this is, probably a little bit at a disadvantage because of that. So we're not picking it up as intensely as if this was like our first pour of the night. And this really is a whiskey that should be your first pour of the night, or maybe you have it after like a really low proof whiskey if you don't like starting with higher proof. Because it is a subtle, gentle whiskey where all that beautiful sweetness comes in. There's lots of subtle nuance that comes from what they've blended. And there is a really nice earthy element here. And it's more earthy than peated, but there is a nice little bit of smoke in the background. It's a very I'm trying to think. I mean, it's more of like an earth soil kind of peat than like your Isla where it's like smoker and it's, burnt iodine. That's not really what's coming off here. It's just a very nice earthiness with a little bit of smoke, but more, again, earthy. Almost even a little bit of grassiness. I really enjoy it.
Yeah, I got a lemon, kind of like a lemongrass initially on the nose. I kind of get a little bit here as soon as I put it on my palate, but then it gets very sweet very quickly. Moves into me some redder fruits. You said raspberry. Initially, I said like a strawberry jam, something like that. Very much moves into those fresh fruit notes. Kind of sachets mid-palate into a little bit of a spice. Kind of finishes with a little bit of light chocolate. Thoughts?
Are you starting to get any of the peat elements there, though, Mike?
They're so light to me.
Yeah.
I mean...
Like I said, we just had 2 heavily peated whiskeys.
Yeah.
We did this thing a disservice. I guarantee if we come back to this on another night, and we will, it'll come through more because we just gave it a really... For picking up that peat note, that we've heard it.
Yeah, so the cask note to me, which I believe had the peated cask, and it feels like it had a little bit of a overchar to it slightly. So like the peat note is kind of intermingled with kind of a char note to me, and it's light. It's in there in the background. It's just something that's just lingering in the background and doesn't really stand out. I have to go looking for it.
Yeah, I mean, again, this is a subtle whiskey. Even though it's at 52.5, it does a lot of really nice things, but it's subtle. It's 5% this, it's 7% that, it's 8% this, and those differences you have to be able to kind of appreciate at the time. It's a more challenging whiskey because of that.
It's challenging to break down, but it's a very easy whiskey to drink. I mean,
we could easily put this bottle down tonight.
It's very enjoyable. It's very easy to take. It doesn't come off 52.5 on the palate. It doesn't sting like that at all. It's a tricky whiskey for us to detail all the little notes in it, but this overall is a very fun whiskey to drink. A little challenging to describe.
Okay, water. Oh, water's helping me pick out more of that earthiness on the back. The finishes come out a little bit more even. Water did this thing a lot of good. It did bring out the grain alcohol that's been used here. That I'm picking up a lot more of that now. And that's kind of one of those things where I found I actually enjoy grain whiskeys. I don't think we've ever brought one to the channel other than maybe a Compass Box blend, but I do appreciate them. I don't like them that much. This has definitely got those notes. So if you don't like grain whiskey, this one, I think it's shown. It's shown a little bit more. Whereas like the Acacia cask, it didn't really show up as much. It was there, but the fruits kind of played with it better. This one really is showing that malt and grain whiskey kind of battle that's going on here.
When you nose this whiskey with a little bit of water and you focus on the high end of the glass, the peat notes are far more obvious.
They're there.
And now I understand why before I kept saying it was a char peat note. I'm not used to whatever this peat is. Now again, what I think was char was peat the whole time. But it does kind of have a peppery, ashy twinge to that peat note.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever actually had a peated Irish whiskey.
Agreed.
I know they make a couple, and I've been told, like, I think Connemara is one of them, I believe. I'm not sure what else is out there. And I've been told some of them are kind of weird, so I've been a little soft on going out there and exploring. But this has me interested because I really kind of want to figure out where this cask came from, what the peat's like, because it's just something I don't know a lot about. And part of whiskey is the exploration.
Yeah. Speaking of the exploration, I do like the water. Helped me pick out two things specifically.
Okay.
A little bit better on the nose. However, when I drank it with water, even though I didn't put in a lot, even though it started at 52.5, it felt like I diluted it too much. Got to be very careful with this one. So it kind of subdued with the water quite a bit of the peppery notes. A lot of the spice. But what it did leave was a nice little oak note, a little bit of lemon, a little lemon grass to that. And that, what I now am picking up, is Peated Irish Cask.
So I was able, I guess, to bring the water in at the right spot for me, because I didn't water this down. In fact, it's still very enjoyable. But it brought out the smoke, especially on the finish, way more than initially. In fact, again, I think the finish has gotten longer with water.
So we're as far as a whiskey score on this one.
I'm going to give this one an 88. Great whiskey, really well done, but it's a little simple, and where the complexity is coming from is that combination of the pot still and the gray and maybe some single malt that are kind of playing together. And that doesn't come off as like a refined experience necessarily. I enjoy it. It drinks awfully well. I mean, it's probably a 90 in terms of drinkability.
Oh, easy drink. Easy drinking whiskey.
This is one you could kill in a night and not even think about it. But I think overall, I think that's a fair score there. It's about an 88.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a fair score. I was 87, 88, something like that. It's not as enjoyable as the first one we had.
So 87 or 88, Mike?
87.
87.
Not as enjoyable as the first one we had, but still a very good whiskey, very drinkable whiskey. I mean, there's nothing off-putting about it, but you're right, there is something sort of gritty.
Yeah, I've been told from some people that this one was kind of one of the weaker ones in the lineup, but I saw the words Pete, I had to try it.
Yeah, no. I mean, it was a good guess. Yeah. I mean, the other one was just far more flavorful. It was a little bit more popping.
$90.
Absolutely.
It's half bottle, so it's $180 for a full bottle. But
yeah.
I like the drinkability of this thing is just so special.
Yeah, you know, the way you worded that is, okay, $90 half a bottle, it's a $180 bottle. You are right, it is. But anytime you can buy just half a bottle for half the price,
it's a big benefit.
To explore. We were having that conversation about those boutique whiskeys. I'm like, why not? I mean, because that way you can get them at 30 old Macallan, at least when it came out for $300 or $400.
Yeah, versus $3,000 or $4,000.
Correct. Those days are long gone, regardless of what they are. Anyway, those are our thoughts on this particular whiskey. If you guys had a chance to try this one, let us know what you guys think. And if you had a chance to try this distillery, let us know what you think, because we've been impressed with the whiskeys that they've offered so far.
You know what? If we get, let's say, 10 different people to say that it's worth it, we'll go buy their White Dog, their Potent, and we'll bring it to you guys. See, we've never done a White Dog before, so if there's an interest out there, there's got to be a good number of you guys who really want to see that, though, because it is $60. So I'm not looking to drop $60 for no reason, but if a lot of people are interested, we'll do it.
We'll make that happen for you. Dustin, until next time, what do we wish the folks?
Happy Irish drinking.
We'll see you then.